Welcome to part two of the lesson. So from where we stopped last time, we were trying to display the graph, the stats, the data science aspect of course, the program that you're working on, the MBOA FLIX. And we stopped at this part where we have to do the graph, right? So we haven't started the graph yet. Now, before we even start the graph, one thing we have to do that I want to show you that I think will be very good if you have is to put some great sort of cursor features like icon images. And you can customize your icon images to look really good. I'm going to show you how to do that. And from there, we will put in the graph and then we'll look at the stats and then, of course, do the final parts. Now, one thing I want to show you in this video is just how this would look like in the end. So what we're trying to achieve would be something like this. So let me stop this and run this. This is a sample code for you to see how this is going to work. So I'm going to do a quick run. And as you see, we start with the Togo clothing. I click OK. So this is pretty much what we have. One thing I want to do here, which I'm going to show you, is that once someone tries to click and type something in here and tries to log in, because this is not the logging in, by the way, this is login, not log up, login, just login. So because this is not a logging in section, this is actually for signing up. Logging is supposed to redirect them. What it will do is tell them that you're going to be redirected. So if they type in anything or leave it blank and click login, then it will tell them you're going to be redirected to the login screen. And that's really what's going to happen because we have a unique login screen. So you have to be creative about this. Now moving on to the login screen, as you know, we have this waiting screen. I'm going to log in. And of course, you know that I'm logging in by entering the username and the password that we have in our users JSON file, right? So these are all the usernames, of course, and the password. So just make sure that this works for you. The logging in works. At this point in time, it should actually work. So I'm going to pick anyone from here. Let's do Desmond, and let's log in. All right, so logging in with Desmond again, click login. Login is successful. And then when I come over here, you notice that I'm now on the home page, which I showed you from last lesson. And this is kind of the functionality that we had. And once I click OK and I click here, I come to this page. Now, this is the one that you don't have. And the idea is that whenever a person, because I click the toggle, cloth, and styling option, it gives me these subcategories. What anybody who's coming to click on toggle, cloth, and styling, they will learn about the hand-woven toggle masterclass, how to do that. They will learn about the toggle garment tailoring, how to be able to do the toggle head wrap, and then of course the modern toggle design. So everything is toggle here because it's basically connecting to the toggle cloth and styling option. And so that's what you're going to have to do for all the other ones that are on the main page. And when I talk about the main page, I already showed you this in class. I'm talking about these other options that you have, right? You have these ones at the top, which you have to create nice pages for them. Don't forget that. This has to link to the About Us page. You have to have a nice fashion page. Well, this is like for me, of course, you will link yours to your pages, but these have to link to pages, of course. You might want to be creative about the banner. Maybe you want to make the banner link somewhere or just reload this page. And then the user profile, of course, which should not be of a male or female, just both genders, because it could be a male user or a female user. And also be creative of what you want to put here, because at this point, by the time you finish this lesson, you will know many functionalities, so you need to be creative about what goes into the user profile. Remember, at the end of the day, your MBOA FLIX has to be completely functional. And also, these links down here, these social media platform links, they just need to click and probably open something on social media. Maybe you make like a little Facebook page over here. Although you can actually open up, make it such that once you click on them, it opens up a web link. You can go research on that a little bit. And that's going to be like your Facebook account or YouTube account. We can do a little research on that. So that's kind of what this needs to, these two need to be. You can do it yourself and decide what you're going to do here. Anyways, let's get back to the code. So as I was saying, let's get back here. I was talking about, oh, actually the screen. I was talking about when you're here, this is what you don't have. You notice that I created a file called Togo Clothing, and in this file we have these options, right? We have the hand woven. So these are like the subcategories, and initially they will be at 0, 0, 0, 0. We talked about last class, but they will increase anytime a person selects any one of these. That way you will know which one's the most popular. So first of all, how do I make this cursors, these icons happen? You notice it changes, but it doesn't change for the last two because I only did these two as an example. But of course you can do this one, a different one, a different one. Once you understand how to change between these two, then you can just change for the other ones. So whenever I click right now, toggle the hand woven option, if you look at it on the file, it's 7. So basically 7 times it's being clicked. Okay, that's the data science aspect. That's the data analytics. So if I click again, you notice that it changes the screen, of course, but if you go and it's doing this stuff, which again is writing in an animated, nice fashion, that's something I'm going to show you how to do. It's really cool because you can read from a file and write information about what they've selected, which is very cool to keep them entertained. And of course, you can design the screen and all that stuff. So I'm going to show you all this in this video. But if you go back to Togo, you notice that it's now 8. It was 7 before. That's because I clicked on it, right? And it opened up this page. And so if I go back, I'm going to wait until it finishes and I'm going to stop and rerun. But if I run this code again, you're going to see that the bar graph is going to show me 8 because the bar graph, the statistics, is always loading the information, the values from this file whenever we open it up. Okay, and we're talking about just the Togo one, right? So I'm just showing you how you can read information from a file and display it on the screen. And you have to be creative to know what information you want to display because obviously, I don't know if you've noticed, but okay, so it's done writing everything from the file. By the way, it just read everything here from this file. So I'll show you how you can do that. It's a text file and you need to have this for all the options, of course. Now, what I'm talking about is when you go back to the, to go back to the file, let's log out of here and just reload this again one more time so I can explain. So I'm trying to say, let's stop it and rerun again. Now that we're going to rerun, you're going to see that this updated values are going to show in the bar graph. This 8 that just changed will actually show. So we're going to click run one more time. Again, coming back to our VNC, clicking this option. And then of course log in, and then you have this waiting screen sort of, and then now we're going to go into the part where we see the graph again. So let's just wait a little. And of course when we do that, oh yeah, still waiting, still loading. There it is. So I'm going to log in. We did Desmond, right? Let's do Desmond again. Let's do Desmond again. And then, of course, when we click login, we log in successfully, and then we're welcome to this welcome screen. And then once we click this option, we come here, and you notice that now this bar graph has increased, right? So it's increasing based on the scaling. So it's now above 7.5 going to 8. That's the 8, which is basically what it's reading from here. And the other one is 7, so that's the garment tailoring. And that one you can see is below here. And then you've got the other one that's above and it's going towards the head wrap is 14. So just make sure that, all that stats is read correctly. And of course, the cloth design is at, oh, not here. The cloth design is at 7. So it's kind of the same line as the garment tailoring. And that's why you see them in the same line as 7. So this bar graph is working perfectly, and one thing I'll show you is how to get rid of, I'm going to get rid of these options and sort of like put the bar graph to fit in here. It has to fit in a nice way. And remember that it's showing the Togo clothing. You need to be smart enough when you now understand how to display information in your bar graph, then you need to be smart enough as to, which makes sense because we click toggle clothing. So it's obviously going to be showing you toggle clothing. And when you click on other options, it will show you whatever options. If it's culinary, it would show you culinary stats based on the subcategories. Okay, let's get into the coding part, shall we? So first, I'm gonna show you how to make changes to this picture so we can actually get something to fit into the graph to go without any sort of blocking or anything like that. Now let's go and let me stop this from running. Now that you've seen what we're gonna do, you saw the animation writing, you saw all the graphs and the stats. How are you gonna do that for your own program? So let's get back to our program. This is our program. This is where we stopped last time. First of all, I'm gonna delete this comment because we don't need it. So you can take that out. We didn't do it last class. I'm gonna remove the hashtag from here. Second of all, I have my picture still here from last class. And what I want to do, of course, is get rid of this text, get rid of this stuff at the top, and just have some space for my graph. So, and then I'll show you how we can go to Canva and we can like animate, not animate, but like edit it. You can still edit it on Gemini or Google Flow, by the way. So really take your time on doing this really well. So what I'll do is I'll open up Gemini and then I'll say remove, okay, remove the menu options. And of course, make sure you say what menu options you're talking about, right? So for me, I'm talking about the about us all the way to the user profile. So I'm going to be like about us, comma, the second one was the styling. And then of course, what I showed you in class, dot, 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 dot. In the picture attached here, okay, in the picture attached here, and then I'll be like, also remove. I also want to remove, if you noticed, I want to take out the text, this explore the heart of Cameroon's culture and discover, learn, and connect. I want to get rid of that, your gateway. So explore, also remove the texts, which are explore the text from, you know, let's do from, because you know we want to do from, or maybe just which are. I think it will be better which are, because we're referring to which are, which one of them. So which are, we have explore, and then explore the heart of Cameroon's culture. So explore the heart of Cameroon's culture. Okay, so that's just what I'm going to write down here. Cameroon's culture. And then, of course, what else do we have to do? So I'm going to go back and discover, learn, and connect. So just write that down. Discover, learn, and connect. And then, of course, just keep putting a comma so it understands what you're saying. Your gateway to fashion, your gateway, oops, that's spelled wrong. Gateway to fashion. And then just, I wrote that spelling wrong actually. And then just put like a dot, 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 so it understands what you're saying. So, and then in the picture, don't forget to say in the picture attached here. I'm just showing you how you can animate the pictures, but obviously at this point, I think you're good to go in terms of generating photo. I just need to get this photo ready. I'll be like, do not change anything else, because sometimes it will go and change something and I don't want it to change. So do not change anything else in the picture attached here. Okay. All right, so we're done with that. Now we're gonna upload our picture. So click the plus sign, click upload, and then select your picture that you want to edit. If you're editing a picture, if you're happy with the picture you have, that's fine. I go for flash, and I'll always go to standard to just be a bit faster, but you can do extended, even because I would say extended things a bit longer, and that's quite useful too, because it will just give you a better result. So I'm just going to send it right now. And while this is doing its magic, let's go over to Canva so I can sort of edit this picture. So on Canva, I'm going to come here, and the first thing you'll do once you sign into Canva, if you want to edit stuff, of course, you know, is to look at the resolution size of your photo. My photo is 1376 by 768. So I'm going to come over here and write that down, and then I'm going to open it up, create a new design, and then of course the reason is because I want to edit my photo, so I'm trying to get the same size. And now let's get back to what Gemini's done. Okay, Gemini's done a good job. I'm just gonna say remove the image icons. So I'm gonna say remove the, how many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, remove the 6 image icons, the 6 image small image icons, small images in at the top, okay, in the picture above. That's one thing. So do not change anything else is always a keyword. Do not change anything else. Oop, that was spelled wrong. And once you're done, again, do not change anything else in the picture. Just be more specific right there. And then once you're done, at the top of the picture above, yeah, we can say of course. And then you send it again until you get the right results you want. And once we get the right results, I'm going to download it. And then I'm going to show you how we can get a nice cursor. How do you get really unique cursors that you can use for your application, for your MBOA FLIX? I'm going to show you how you can do that because it's pretty cool when you know how to do it. Okay, nice. But again, it's putting me this text. So I'm going to say remove. So that's the thing about this AI. What you can do, of course, is you can just download this picture. This is another solution. And you can go and open another Gemini. And then you can come and drag and drop your picture. And then you can send the same command, you know, if it's very insistive, just send the same command that you have here and paste it over here. Okay? And then send it again. So sometimes it's when it's stuck in its memory, it just keeps doing this instead of doing that, taking out the option and keeping everything blank. It adds text in here. So that's just something you can do to try out and see if it works. And sometimes if you have a different account for Gemini, it'll be a good idea for you to, you know, get that. You see how this worked pretty well? So like I told you, it's just the way the AI works. Make sure your spelling and everything is written properly when you do this. And then if everything is good to go, then now you can download. I feel like this is perfect because I have enough space for my graph, right? You saw how the graph was kind of squishy. And we want the graph to sort of, okay, that's not showing. I wanted to show you, but I think I stopped it. So I'm downloading this picture. Once your picture is ready, my picture is ready right here. So I'm going to delete all the ones I don't need, going to get rid of that and keep the one that I do need, right? So that's going to be my new picture. Let's call this picture when they are clicking Togo, right? Togo. I'm going to call it Togo 1. Now, one thing I want to do is the nice, cool icons, okay? So I'm going to say, based on the picture attached here, okay, I'm going to say design a cool cursor icon. You can say Cameroonian themed, okay, Cameroonian themed cursor icon that will go on, so go on the, for me, it's going to be hand woven, okay, hand woven Togu masterclass, so masterclass picture profile picture card in this picture here to click on it. So something like that, you know, like a nice description about that, and then you just upload your picture. You can also refer to the picture above if you prefer not to upload, saying that based on the picture above, but let's see what I get. So the idea is I'm going to get a cursor. So design a cool Cameroonian themed cursor. You can see the size of your cursor as well. So you can say a cursor with resolution size. That's also something cool to do. The nice size would be like a square sort of cursor. You can say 256 by 256 pixels because that really just gives you a big, like a medium size, but you definitely need to reduce it again because it needs to be a cursor. So it really depends on your style. Now, once you're done, you send it over and see what Gemini is going to give you for a cursor. And that's how you kind of pick cursors. So you notice that, oh, it says I'm having a hard time. So let's just go open up a new chat again. So like I said, just refresh it. Sometimes it needs some refreshing or just opening it up one more time. Send it again. You can go, like I said, for extended version. Let's do that now. Because I think that would make it think more and give us a more plausible option. So you can do thinking extended. It does take a little bit of a while than thinking standard, but I think it gives a good result. So let's see, I asked for a cursor that goes over the option that we have here, and for me, it's the first hand woven Togo masterclass, right? Let's see what I get. Okay, so it just gave me like a bunch of text. I'm gonna be like, okay, if it gives you that, come back here and say, generate a picture based on the description. You notice I'm capitalizing because I want to emphasize above. I don't know why it does that, but sometimes it does. So just send it again and wait for it one more time. Now you've said generate a picture, so it's pretty clear that you want a photo. And again, like I said, you can try Google Flow. Google Flow can also work really well. We're actually going to go and try it so you can see the difference. Yeah, so the idea is you can try that and also get that to work for you pretty well. So it's still working, still trying to create an image. Let's see what it did. It says I have designed a Cameroonian. Okay, this is not bad. This is not a bad icon. This is actually not bad at all. So as you can see, this is good. It even shows you how it goes on this. So let's say you want to do this. I'm going to assume this would be my cursor that would go whenever they click on, they take their mouse over the hand woven togo. So let's say this is what I choose. What I'll do is take a screenshot, as you can see right here, of this, just a little screenshot of this icon. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. And then I want to play around with, I'm going to copy this prompt and go to Google Flow because I want to play around with another one. I need at least two, but you obviously need to get more icons for your cursor because maybe you're going to do it like for changing them nicely for all the other options. So that's a good idea. But I'm going to do two. So you notice I took a screenshot. Don't forget I took a screenshot. It's saved in my screenshots. This is what I took a screenshot of. I'm going to take out the background and just keep the cursor icon. And I'm also going to reduce the size. And that's how I'm going to show you how a cursor works. So what I'll do is I came back here and I'll just paste my prompt, okay? And I'll take out this generate because in you know, what do you call this? In Google Flow, it really understands more of when you say images because you're selecting. So I'll do two variations and then I'll just come and upload the picture again and see what other cursors I can get from this one while I'm working on the other ones. So this one's uploading the picture right now. Where I will advise you to go is this website if you want to take out background, remove.bg if you didn't already know this website. And I want to take out the background of my cursor, the one that we just designed right now. And I want to keep just the cursor. So it's supposed to take out the background for me. Perfect. That's what I want. Download this cursor or this icon. It's going to be the cursor, obviously. And now I have it downloaded in a transparent version, which is pretty good because every time they move, this would move. So the size of this cursor right now is 476 by 466. I need to reduce the size. So let's call it cursor 1. So to reduce the size, I will go over to another website and it's called a pic resizer, or you can just go anywhere and say resize a picture online. Okay, anyone works. I like using the I love image as well. Select your picture, and in my case, I'm selecting my cursor option number 1. And the resize I would say is 128 by, it's really a nice size. It's good to go 128 by 125. You could do that. I think that might be a little bit big. So let me try something like maybe, I'm not sure. Let's try 105. Let's see if that makes any difference. Or you know what? Let's go with 108. Let's go with 108. So 108 pixels by 108. Let's do that. It might be a little bit big, but you can resize it to 96 or something else. So anyways, I'm going to download my images and resize it, download it, and now you will see that my picture is this one, which is way smaller. You see it? It's smaller now, which is a perfect cursor. So I'll just call this one cursor, or I can say icon 1. Okay, so now let's get back to Google Flow and let's see what Google Flow's done. So I need to, now that it's uploaded the picture, I upload this. Make sure you select this picture and make sure you see it here. Then make sure you select 1 by 1. I forgot to say that, a square ratio. That's really a good one. And then just send it. Okay, and it will give you different variations. And again, you choose what you want. So I just showed you one example. So let's see what it does. It's generating the cursors for us. And then once we're done, we really are just going to go back to Canva, and I'll do that right now just because of the time. I'll upload the picture that I have. So let's click upload, upload files. And the picture, of course, is this one. And I just want to show you how you can edit it. Obviously, I'm sure some of you are very good in editing, if not all of you. So you can just come here and include a text really nicely and just look at how your picture looks like in the first place, like the original one. And then, ooh, I deleted it. I just forgot that I actually deleted the photo. So I'm going to go back to my photo from here. We had about us, we had, you can even do this, by the way. This is also very, possible. So what you can do is you can just copy your image, take a screenshot, and then go back to Canva. And when you're on Canva, just, paste it like that. You see? And then you can like make it smaller and you can put it yourself. So this is another thing that you can actually do. Which I think I'm just gonna probably do because I like the way my sort of options look. So I think I'll probably just do that for all of them. So just take like a screenshot of them. It might not be the clearest, but you get the idea. And then I'll go back to Canva and just paste, because I really just need space for the graph, for the bar graph. And then just like sort of align it real well. And you can even reduce the size even more. So, but just make it readable for the user as well, because if it's too small, the user can't really read. Another thing you could do is you could just put them in a way where it's like that. You can change the way your stuff looks like. So that's also cool. And so let's go back and I'll do the culinary one. So let's say I change the way my things look like. So I'll do culinary right here, right? And then I'll come back to Canva and then place culinary over here. So you notice I'm taking screenshots of this. So I'll come back to Canva and then paste my culinary and just put it maybe around here. I kind of need to be smart about my spacing because I need space for all the other options. So yeah, I think this is good. And then what else do we need? So we need the, Njangi economics. That one's also needed. And I need sort of like, I don't want to go like all, if you're wondering why can't you just take a screenshot of everything, but I'm not doing it horizontally. That's the reason why. So I'm going to do Njangi right here. And I probably might not have enough space for all of them, but you can be creative about this and you can put, so what I'll do is maybe drag this down, maybe do like a little, like a little sort of art over here, like a, I don't know, it looks like it makes sense. So it's like that, and let's put like that, something like that, and then you can just, I want to try to make sure I have space for the graph, which is why I'm doing all of this. And then, put this one right here, and then we still have like 2 more to go. So music and user profile. I might end up, again, like I said, you can end up taking out one of the options, but if you kind of have all your options, just try to keep it consistent because consistency is very important. So maybe like music, you put it somewhere by the side here. Maybe you want to make it look good. Just, have enough space for your graph. But to be honest, for me particularly, I just don't want to crowd this area because I want to leave it for the graph. So yeah, so you get the idea. So maybe I'll put music like around here, something like that. And then I probably will leave out the user profile. But yeah, you got the idea. I'll just leave mine like this. I think it's pretty good. Maybe user profile, I'll put it like at the top. Okay, that actually makes sense. I can put it way at the top because usually user profile is like where the user can see where they need to go, like to their profile. Okay, so here I probably will put my user profile somewhere like around the top right here. Yeah, like around there, and maybe something like this. Let's see how that looks like. Maybe a little bit down, like somewhere around there. Okay, and so I have all the space for the graph. So I got to squish off my graph in here. So everything is good to go. And now I have my new Togu, let's call it Togu 2 image ready to go. So I'm going to go for file. I'm going to go download. And of course, I'm going to download it as a GIF. Don't forget to download your file. Now let's go over to the, oh, look at some cool, isn't this so cool? Yep, so cool. So there's all kinds of things, like this is what I mean, all kinds of cursors. I like this one very much. So I'm gonna take this one and use it as my second cursor. I've just downloaded it, so that's why I said try to use Google Flow for this. And then of course going back, I will go back to this website and I'll upload the second cursor that I have and make it transparent and also make it the same size as the other one. Okay, so now I have downloaded it. Now I'm just going to close this website, done with this website. I have my cursor, which I can call cursor 2. That was like the original one that I downloaded. And now this one is the transparent cursor, which I'm going to call icon 2. Okay, so you have my cursors too. So basically this cursor would be maybe for me when they go over on, no, not here, but Togu, the Togu that we just downloaded. Oh, by the way, here's my downloaded Togu from Canva. So I'm thinking when they go, so yeah, the options are not that very clear, but that's why I said you just need to work on it. In terms of me, I just kind of wanted to get it done and look good, but you can put options however you want. I'm sure many of you, like I said, are artistic. You can use Gemini, Google Flow. There's many time for that. I'm going to do it so that once my cursor comes here, it's the first cursor I want to go here will be probably the hand that would come here. And then the other one would come like whenever they go here, it will show this one instead, you know, that kind of a thing. We should have, you should change though. When you prompt it again, when you finish prompting it and saying, get me a cursor for this option, say, get me a cursor for this one, get me a cursor. So it actually gets you something that matches. I just got this one and I didn't prompt it again for the new one, but you understand what you need to do. You need to be smart about this. Okay, so my second icon cursor is this one. I'm going to resize it now that we have everything ready, so we can now go over and start coding. So I'm going to resize this to 128 by 128. And then I'm going to download. You notice it's the same size as the other cursor that I have, like the other icon. This is 128 by 128. This one's now going to be no more 500, but now 128 by 128 as well. So this is going to be, I'll just rename it again to icon 2. So now that everything is ready, we can now go back to our code and just drag and drop things. So I'll drag and drop my Togu number 2. This is my background picture. I'll also drag and drop, oh, I have a Togu 2 actually. So let me just delete some of these things so that some of the things that I have here that you don't have. So don't worry about it. You don't have that. So my Togu 2 is now this one. Okay. My cursor, let's stop the console. Sorry, not the cursor. I'll stop the console from everything running. So I have my Togu 2 right here. I'm also going to drag and drop my icons, this one that I resized and this one as well. So drag and drop them in here. And you notice that I have my, oh, not that one. This is actually something that I uploaded for an example. Like I said, there's so many icon examples. You just got to choose which one you want. I'm just going to delete that one because I uploaded them when I was trying to show the example. And I'll delete them, but you can get many. So this is the one I've gotten right now. It's pretty big. I think it's going to look very big, but yeah, you can, not very, but a little bit bigger than what I showed you from before. But again, you can reduce the size to maybe like 100 pixel by 100 or 96. That also works really, really well. So you notice I'm changing the dots GIFs. They all have to be dot GIFs because, oh, not dot GIF. That was a very, very bad mistake. It's a dot GIF, guys. So just redo it as a dot GIF. If you get your file corrupted, that's okay. Just download it again. I mean, upload it again one more time. So I just deleted my icon 1 and I'll just drag and drop it and that will be my icon 2. So this is the icon 1 and icon 2. So I got to delete one that I just have as an extra. And keep this one and make sure you don't make a mistake. This is .gif. Hit enter. So you have the first one and the second one. First one and the second one. So we're good to go. And then we have our Togu 2 background. Now let's get back to our code. So in our code, first things first, we need to draw the graph, but we want to insert the icon, right? So what we'll do before we start putting code to insert our graph that basically reads from the backend JSON file for Togu. Remember, you have to do the same thing when you do Togu. You got to do the same thing for all the other options. So what I'm going to do is first I want you to go and look in your code for this option. So let me zoom in. Go to your code and look for where you've put the background picture of togu2.gif. Okay, so togu2 is this one that I just designed, togu2.gif. And then hit an enter because this is where we're going to be putting our code for the cursor. Okay, so inserting code to display various cursors or icons, various icon for cursor. So what we'll do is go back to the next line. And so what we're going to do here is we need to start by registering having a state, okay? So a state means the state that's going to make the computer understand when the cursor is on one part and when the cursor is on another part, okay? And you need to get your, also your, what do you call it? Your clicking function, because you need to make things clickable. So we're going to do that step by step, okay? Step by step. First, let's do the one for the cursor, and then we'll do the clicking thing. I'll explain how that works. We're going to create a variable called game started, and in the beginning, this game will start at false, okay? So game started will be false. You can call it whatever you want to call it. We need to add our cursors to our screen. So we say screen.addShape, the ones that I'm talking about, the icon cursors we just got. So the first one I got was called icon 1 and icon 2, right? There's two of them. So you have to add them to your screen. That's the first thing you do. So icon1.gif. Hit enter and then do the icon2.gif. Now, once that is done, you need a turtle object. So I'm going to call this one pen, something that's going to be used to put your cursor on your screen. So we call it a turtle object. So we need to create an object of turtle. So it's going to be like this. Pen equals turtle.turtle. You can call it whatever you want. And then you just say pen.shape. And of course, you put your first by default. What would be the first icon? I'm going to put icon 1 by default, right? The first one, this one. And then of course you go pen up, which means telling the computer to raise the pen, and then the pen.speed, which is basically used to slow down your animation. So like when you have stuff going on, it doesn't go too fast, okay? It makes the turtle movement instantaneous. That's what happens here. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is the function that triggers whenever the mouse moves on the screen. Okay, so I'll explain what this is, by the way. So this one is, we said, makes the turtle move, move instantly. And then this one, now we're inserting a function, okay? A function that triggers automatically whenever the mouse moves, whenever the user clicks, not clicks, but whenever the user moves the mouse, okay, moves the mouse on the screen, And of course, the screen, you know, is the togu2.gif, right? So first we're going to create a function. Let's call this one, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it follow mouse. And then it's going to be an event because it has to pay attention to what's being moved on the screen. So you have to make it an event like this and then call and hit enter. Now you've got to global the, what do you call it? You could global it or you can say non-locale. Okay, it also works. Basically, you're doing that for the game started. You can do this or you can say non-locale. So basically what you're doing is that it's used to make it accessible anywhere in a different function because we created it outside of this function. It's outside, it's at the top. It's not inside. So you kind of need to use this keyword so you can access it again, okay? Now, after you've done that, we're going to say if game started, that means if it's false, right? Because in the beginning, we set it to be false. So if it's true, sorry, not false. If it's true, then you have to stop tracking the mouse cursor if a new screen, oh, sorry, if it's false, my bad. You have to stop tracking the mouse cursor if it's on a new screen. So we're going to do return. Then we're going to come down here, and this will help us now to determine the coordinates because we're going to be switching from a thinker screen to a turtle screen, right? This toggle is on a turtle screen. You guys know the difference between turtle and thinker right now. So I'm not doing that screen dot root, and you notice I'm doing screen dot clear, screen dot pgpic. That's the syntax for turtle, okay? So we need to make the computer switch between thinker and turtle. So first we have to go get the coordinates. So this is what we're going to do, get the coordinates based on where the user is clicking on. So we're going to say x equals to event dot x minus, and then screen dot window slash slash 2. So that's actually window with not 2 slashes, it's just 1 slash divided by 2. So that way we can be able to get the x coordinate of the mouse when it's moved on the screen. Okay, so that's starting from the width of the screen. Then we're going to do the y coordinate, and that one's going to be based on the height, obviously, because you know the y axis goes up and down, so that's why it's based on height. So it's going to be screen.window underscore height, and then of course slash 2 minus event.y. So it gets the y coordinate of the mouse. This is just the way you do it mathematically in computing. And then, of course, we will say pen.go to x and y, because the pen means that it's the one that you're binding to either of these icons. And it has to go depending on where the user moves the mouse. That's why we have follow mouse. So we will go to that x and y coordinate depending on where the user has done that. Okay, so now this is important. We need to get the coordinates. We need coordinates for the screen, all right? So what screen are we talking about? Well, we need coordinates for the screen, which is the toggle screen. And we kind of need to actually go and do that right now because that will really be helpful for us. So right now, we have our turtle 5 is available, like our screen 5 is available, even though we're not inside of the, we're in a different function right now, by the way. But one thing to know is that we want to make our screen clickable, right? So what we can do, we need coordinates so that we know when the user is on certain area on the screen, the cursor is going to show. So we're going to create a coordinate. Let's call this one click 6. Okay, just for now, def click 6, x comma y. Let's just do that for now. And then let's print x comma y, and then let's do that whole turtle dot on screen click. Okay, and then let's do call the click 6 function, and then turtle.listen, and I think that will be all. I think we don't need a turtle.done, hopefully not, but we can still do a turtle.done. So this is only just because we need coordinates right now. Okay, think about that. Keep that in your mind. We need coordinates. So we're going to have to test this function. Okay, we need to test this function such that once they click on because right now we have this welcome message, which I want to show you in the code. And the welcome message is when they're logged in successfully. Remember that it displays home and the user status is true. So displaying home function is actually this one that we're on right now. Okay, and that's why it shows this message. I hope we're all aware of this. And that means we're in here, and so we just got to make this one work. Oh, and by the way, for us to make this one work, actually, you know what? I don't think we might need this now thinking of it. I see that we already have this function going on for us, guys. So I don't think we're going to need this one. So let's just take out the click 6 for now, because we already have click 5. That should work for us because it's a click 5 and we have it active. So what we'll do for now, let's run this code just so that we see if the screen is clickable, then that's great. We only need coordinates. So anyways, the main thing is to run it and see if the screen is clickable. So just run your code, okay? And click as usual on the start and then run your code. And one thing I want to do also is actually fix this. Can we fix this real quick? Because I wanted to do this part. I'll show you what I mean. Just scroll down in your code and go to the line where you have those buttons. You have the login button and you have the sign up. I wanted to show you this in class, but we didn't have time. So right now, the login button, when you click, it goes to the login screen. However, we need to make this compiler smart enough so that if anybody clicks, like types in something on the sign up screen, where we have those text boxes and tries to log in, it shouldn't let them. So here we're going to be checking that a user enters data or leaves the text boxes empty and clicks on the login button. Okay, we want to handle that. So we're going to create something called check user, a function called check user click, not user function. You can call it anything you want. And in here, what we'll do is we'll say, okay, if the username.get textbox.get, and you know where I'm getting this name from, this username underscore textbox, password underscore textbox.get, well, because that's the name of this variable that we have here. We can actually just use get username. We don't even have to say .get. Just say get username, because we have that variable that we created at the beginning that was storing whatever the user will type in the text box. We have it for username. We have one for password. So what we'll do is we'll say get password as well. Oh, get password. Spell that correctly. So if get username equals blank, you're basically saying if they didn't enter a username, they didn't enter a password, both are blank. Or if they did, so we can also say if they did, but they clicked login on the username screen instead of signing up, on the sign up screen instead of signing up, but they're trying to log in. So if this is not equal to, so this is how you say not equal to. If they didn't leave their answer blank and they wrote something there, we don't know what they wrote, whatever they wrote. What we're trying to say is that either they leave it blank or they wrote something, but as long as they click login in the sign up section, it shouldn't let them log in. That's not where they need to log in. They need to change screen. So if this is the case, if it's either blank, they've left it blank and clicked on login, or they've entered something and clicked on login on the sign up screen, then it will do a message alert and say, instead of saying error, it will be like maybe user, I'll give the name of the window called user redirect. By the way, this is a pop-up message box. I'm sure you know this from Thinkter. And then here it will say something like, you will be redirected to the login page, okay? Shortly. So you can say shortly. That's a way to say it. And you just pretty much, call the login screen, and that's it. And then you can come back here and you can say else, if it's another situation, then you can pretty much say, well, I don't think we need an else, to be honest, because in this section, really, we're trying to say if they leave it blank, and they click on login, because we're going to bind this button to this function. It's not for sign up, but it's just for login. So if they click it and they don't enter anything or they enter something, but they click on login, this is what's going to happen. So there isn't really any else, right? Else is if they clicked somewhere else, which is not possible. We can't say if they clicked on sign up because they have clicked on login. So what we'll do is we'll change this command on the login. Make sure you're doing the login. Change the command to now be this check user click. Okay, so this is important so that it now does this instead. Before going to the login, it should just give them that message. So let's try it now and see. Once you're done, stop again your console, and then of course come back. You can just run your turtle if you want, or run everything, really doesn't matter. And then come here and click OK. Now if I try to click login, you see you'll be redirected to the login page shortly. Okay, now I'm on this page, which you all know. So that's a good way of kind of giving the user some direction of where they're going. So the idea is, remember, we're trying to get the click function so we can get the options. So once they click on a certain area, okay, so now we need to log in here. So let's see, I think my logging in is, you can basically just come back here if you don't know what your login is. Just open up your user's file. There are many options. I can use Maria. If I try to log in right now, it's not going to let me. So just make sure that still works. And then I'll just try putting in Maria and then going for Maria again. And then logging in, and now my login is successful. And I've come to this page where we've done, of course, last class. Now this is the page that, first of all, we have to make sure once we click here, okay, it's going to change screen. And I think once we click on it, we come over here. Oh, there it is. It's changing the screen, but everything looks very, very odd right now. So change the screen, but the graph is way up here. We have to make very important changes to this. So let's see what's happening. The toggle picture is showing right now. So where's the toggle picture? Let's go over to our function, go back up to your code. We need to adjust it because it's not showing in the right place. It is showing, so the toggle photo is showing, screen.bgpic is there. The size of the screen is kind of very, it's not sized. So we need to kind of size the screen right now. So the screen size could be, before we do this, we can say screen.setup. Let's try that first. And I'll do the width. So the width will be 1,376, and then the height could definitely be 768. That's one thing to adjust, so that actually adjusts for the size of the screen, because this is not like, this is the button, but it opens up this and it's so big and coming down, so we need to readjust that. Another thing that we need to readjust is the graph size, right? So the graph is blocking and we can't really see where we can click to get like our coordinates, and we need these 4 coordinates. So we got to move the graph up. But first, let's see if the screen is adjusted before we move the graph, okay? So let's stop it and let's rerun it again. So stop workflow, run my code, run my application, come back here and okay it. And then I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit more, because 90% gives me a good view. So if I try it, let's do the other option. By the way, this is logging in. I keep saying logging up, but it's logging in. So it's not a login up, login up, login up, login. So here, if I just try to type anything, let's say I do that. Okay, let's type Alicia or, ooh. Okay, I type my name and I try to log in. It's not going to let me. It's just going to redirect me. So that's really what we've just done in the part of the code I showed you. I get redirected back here. And then here is where we have the issue where our screen is coming up to be not sized properly, right? So here I'm going to log myself in. I think my username, I have Alicia, so I can log in successfully. So just make sure again that you've done this part well, because we did this before. Now, once you log in successfully, you come over to your welcome screen and there it is. Okay, so far I think I have an idea of what's going on. I think the screen that we downloaded from Canva, it did adjust it, but of course the screen we downloaded seems to be smaller in size. I didn't pay attention. It seems like it's 1,376 here, but in reality, it seems to be, oh no, that's not it. It's this one actually. It's smaller in size, guys. That's exactly what the problem is. It's smaller in size. So that's the thing about Canva, is that it usually, I don't know why it does this, but when you download something, and I'm going to try and download it as a GIF. If you download it as a PNG, it comes to the right size. So you can actually switch it over and just download it as a PNG first, and then come back to the code and change it, because it can actually change easily. So this is another trick way you can solve this problem. So I've just done this and dragged it back in here. So this is the one that's actually big in size. This is the one that's small in size, and I don't want it because I want to maintain a size similar to everything. So this one is the one I just went and downloaded from Canva as a, that's a trick of how you can do it on Canva. Download it as a PNG to keep the size. So when you come to download, just say download and do PNG. But when you come to your code, you change it from a PNG to a GIF. That's how it works. So let's try it now and see if the sizing works okay. So clear everything, run it again. And just reminding you that the size, we haven't really specified, like we haven't done anything to make it look unusual. So the sizing should be okay based on what we're setting right here. So the next thing you want to do is when you run it, so it should be like all the sizing that we have perfectly here. So we click OK, you come log in, redirect you come here again. And then of course, you know the drill, we log in and we go back to that page, because what we really want is to have a nice background. And then of course, make sure that the, the graph doesn't block as well. So that's something we're also going to have to adjust. So I'm going to put my username and password. And then of course, log in successfully and then come back here. Okay, this is way better. This is way better. So you can just maximize this and of course have your screen okay and normal. So then once you have this done, this is what we expect anyways. And one more thing you could do actually is at the beginning, just make sure that you've cleared everything. So we have cleared the screen, so that's really important. We've put a setup, which to be honest is not really necessary, so we can just take it out and see how it is. But I put the setup just because we want to make the screen wide. But I think at this point the screen is big enough to to be fine. So just like I said, if you want to not have this in there, you can just comment this out and just keep it without that. So I just want to show you real quick and let's see the difference. Okay, let's run it again, this time without setting the width and height, so we can see if it automatically sets itself, because what we want is for it to do it smoothly. We don't want anything looking awkward. Make sure your graphics are all looking good, and that's exactly what we want. But once we took it to Canva, just the sizing changed because we downloaded it as a GIF instead of a PNG. So this is really important just to make sure everything is done properly. So I'm going to log myself in again. And now I'm here, usual place, and then I'll click OK. Perfect. You see what I said? We don't need that. So you don't need to put in, you can just take this out, to be honest. We didn't need it. It was just Canva that was resizing it wrongly. So just take that line of the set width and height because it automatically puts it for you perfectly. So this graph is the graph that we're going to be showing. We want to take it up here, okay? And we want to kind of size the graph properly. So the graph needs to be sized correctly so we can be able to put it and show it properly, okay? We already have the sizing of the graph. We just need to get it into the right size. So what we're going to do is I'll move this graph over here so we can, and then click around here and just make sure everything is clickable first of all. Go to your console, see if your coordinates are showing. If they're not showing, that means we need to bring back the def click 6, what I was talking about, which I think this screen isn't actually showing coordinates right now because it's not clicking. We can try it one more time, but I think it's not showing the coordinates. And we need the coordinates to determine the clicking stuff. So what we're going to do, obviously, is we have, at this point, we have this graph showing. We have our click 5. So let's just look at this. So we have our graph showing right here. I'm back to the code, okay? We have the graph that's kind of showing off around, where did we set the graph? I think we set our graph like at the bottom. Oh, we didn't even set the graph. Oh, okay. I thought we did set the graph. We haven't set the graph yet. So, okay, that's probably why. We did have it here though. So that's the reason. We're trying to plot it here. So that's one thing we actually have to go and adjust right now. But just so I think we need to do that because if we don't adjust the graph, then we're not going to be able to see it properly because anytime you run it, it will come up like the way it's coming up right now. So I'm just going to run it one more time. And I want to just show you because we have to definitely go back and finish the code so we can actually put the graph, resize it, and do all we need to do. So that's something we're going to have to do. I believe, though, that let me just get back to the code one more time. Oh, no, actually, guys, we have it here. My mistake. We do have the line. I thought we didn't have it, but it's there. So let's do this. Let's raise the graph up. So the less positive it is, the more it goes up because, again, it's working like Thinkter where you're counting from 0 from the top down. So the positive increases as you go down. So the less positive it is, it goes top. We can put the width. I'll increase my width of my graph. The more the number, the longer the graph, so we can make the text to show. And of course, you can increase the height. So this is really where you can change how your graph looks like and where it is placed on your screen. So I just made the Y from, I think it was 200 to 70 going up. And then here I made it longer and I kept this the same. So let's try it now and let's see. So we're going to cancel, stop everything, and then let's see how everything looks like. Run it again. Come to your console. Oh, you know what? I actually want to not run all this stuff because I get confused sometimes by seeing too many of these like runs. Let me just run only the turtle so I don't see too many things here. And now come back here, click OK. And remember, login, it will tell me we are going to be redirected. I'll wait here. And then, of course, I log in and I go onto the Togu screen. And there I will see if my graph has adjusted its place to go properly onto the blank area. And then, of course, we need to make sure that the screen is clickable so we can get the coordinates that we need. So that's really important to getting those coordinates. So we get Desmond. This is, again, something that I have in my file, by the way. I come here, welcome, okay, click here, and then my graph is perfect. I like the way it is. I, of course, can make it taller, which I think I might do. And you even see the cursor on the screen, right? So the only thing we're having is that this screen apparently isn't clicking, it's not clickable. So we want to make this screen clickable so it actually works. So, but I think my graph is looking good. Like I said, you can adjust your graph, put it wherever you want. So what I'll do is I'll come back here, and to get this clickable, we have our cursor showing right now. So what we can do is, I believe, let's put our click function here. Let's put that here, okay? And if not, we need to move it away. But let's just put it here. So let's put a x comma y, and then we'll try it and see if this is now clickable, because we just need to get the coordinates, and that really just works for us perfectly. So turtle dot on screen click. This is only a reason why I'm putting it. You notice I'm putting it underneath this follow mouse function. Yeah, so just put it there. And then, of course, turtle dot listen, and turtle dot done. Okay, so one thing I just want to make sure of is, actually, I'm going to take it out from here, guys. Let's take this function here and put it here, underneath here, like where you had this def draw bar graph, because you're going to make it active. Okay, if you put it inside here in this function in the follow mouse where we were doing it, then we have to call this one for it to run first before the click 6 will run. But here it will run because it's outside. Okay, so let's try it one more time, and let's see now if our coordinates are showing, because we are only putting it for the purpose of showing coordinates. So we're going to run this again one more time.